Hey everyone, my name is Matt Moy, a winemaker for Vincent Arroyo Family Winery. Unfortunately, our tasting rooms are closed due to the pandemic, but we're going to make the most of it and take our customers and our viewers outside to our vineyards, where a lot of our wines are made. As you know, most of our wines are estate grown, so we thought we'd start out with our Rattlesnake Acre vineyard. You can see it behind me. It's across the street from the winery, or actually just down the road from the winery. We have about 17 acres that we farm out here. We grow Tempranillo, Zinfandel, Cabernet, and Petite Sirah off this estate. And we thought we'd do some tastings of the different wines that come out of these vineyards. So I think the first one that we should try is probably our Tempranillo, where I'm standing now. This is our Tempranillo vineyard. It's about 3 acres. It's on the flat land of the estate here. As you see, all of our vineyards are dry farms, so you can see there's no drip hose here. What Mother Nature gives them is all that they get for water. So we get very high concentration of fruit, but not a lot of it. So this year looks to be pretty good. We're just getting ready to sucker this vineyard. So you can see the leaves are coming in strong. We're getting close to flowering. If you look close there, you can see that the flowers are about ready to bloom. That'll be the future fruit of the Tempranillo. So the Tempranillo is probably pretty new for us here at Arroyo. It's a Spanish varietal. It means early in Spanish. It's the very first red that crosses our crush pad. So usually this is the first grape we pick each year, usually early to mid-September. We picked this grape because the Arroyo family is actually from Spain, so it made sense to have a varietal that showed the heritage of the family. And this is fairly new, like say for us. The Napa Valley probably has about 20 plus acres of Tempranillo growing, and we have about 3 of it. So as far as the grape varietal in the valley goes, it's probably low in terms of number of production, but we do see it starting to take hold. It loves the hot weather, so here in Calistoga, it loves the climate here. So we are going to try our Tempranillo 2017. So let me grab the bottle here. Sorry, this is our first virtual, so bear with us in terms of the videography. I'm trying my best here. Here is the 2017 Tempranillo. So this was released last September. Barrel aged in a American oak. The Tempranillo, I like to say, is more like a big Merlot. It has some good tannins, some juicy tannins. A great barbecue wine. I see a lot of our customers out in Texas love this wine. We find a lot of people coming into the tasting room that don't know much about the varietal. So for us, it's an education thing to our customers to let them know what this varietal is. Tempranillo, it's Spanish, not Tempranillo like armadillo, but it's a fun wine to work with, and I think you'll enjoy it. So cheers to Tempranillo. Hopefully you guys have some of this in your cellar. You may not have the 17, but consistently you're seeing some good cherry. With the American oak, you get that cedarish taste to it as well, a little smoky. But overall, I think it's a great food wine. So hopefully you can enjoy some of this while you're watching this video. And we'll taste this and go on to our Cabernet Rattlesnake Vineyard next. So I'm going to stop the video now and take a sip, and cheers. Okay guys, after a little bit of a hike up the mountain, and fortunately no rattlesnakes on the way, we're up at our Rattlesnake Cabernet Vineyard. As you can see, we have probably about 7 acres of it, if I can do the camera right. And we planted this probably about 12 years ago. For the first several years, this vineyard actually was being used in our Cabernet Winemaker Reserve program. And some of it actually still goes into that wine. It's a great hillside cab. In fact, Vince had pulled this out. Originally there was Chenin Blanc here. It's just kind of funny to think about because it's such an amazing terroir for Chenin Blanc. But at any rate, we got cab growing here. It's now turned into our forest to barrel program. For those of you that don't know, each year I go back to France with our cooper and pick out the trees that are going to be used for the barrels that this wine is made from. So we'll go back each January. We have to go back there in January when the trees are still dormant, so the sap isn't running. And we will tap into a tree and taste the water that comes out to get a feel for what the flavors of that tree are actually going to be. And if we pick the right tree, we'll chop that down. They will cut the staves there in France. And the staves stay back there for 30 to 36 months, aging out in the open air, in the elements. And then after 3 years, they ship the wood back to our cooper who makes the barrels in Benicia, California, which is probably about an hour, 20 minutes from here. And then we put the Rattlesnake Cabernet in those barrels. What's really cool about it, and unfortunately I don't have the barrels out here to show you, but on each barrel they'll show the coordinates of the tree, of where the tree was chopped down from. And so when you come to the winery, hopefully sooner than later, and we taste out of those barrels, you can actually pull up Google Earth and see the stumps of those trees of where we harvested them from. And at the same time, we'll walk out the winery door and I'll point to the hillside and show you where those grapes are actually growing. So it's pretty amazing to be able to see the process from the tree that makes the barrel to the vines that make the wine, and everything in between. So it's a pretty cool process that we've gotten into with our cooperage. They're called Rio, great partners that we work with. And so this wine is, we're going into the third vintage. So we've had 2 vintages that have been released. Right now we have the 2017 that we're going to taste today. But it's quite an amazing place. You can see, look at the hillside. We actually see black bear actually try to come into this vineyard. So if you can see over here, we have fencing to keep those bears and deer out. But it's quite an amazing piece of property, and we're happy to be able to enjoy that. We do lease all our rattlesnake property from the Enderlin family, who've been partners with us for many years and have been great stewards of the land. So we're excited to be partners with them, and our lease runs for quite a while. So hopefully we'll be here for the long run. And yeah, so we'll taste some Cabernet Rattlesnake. Let me get down here so I can say, hopefully get the shot of the bottle here. So this is our 2017 Rattlesnake Acre Cabernet. This is going to be stuff that's from a brand new barrel. So it sees 100% brand new oak. So you're going to get a lot of good flavor from the barrel coming into the wine. It's like I say, it's been special to me. It's been one of my pet projects that we started with. And we're excited to keep going on with it. We do about 12 barrels a year, so it's not a huge wine for us, but it's a very special one. And hopefully you guys have some in your cellar. If not, be sure to get some in there, because like I say, this is a wine I think you'll be able to age pretty well. So I think when you do buy these wines, best to maybe cellar it 5 to 7 years before we open that cork. But again, it's up to you. This is the 17, and I think it's tasting pretty good. And yeah, so I hope you guys are enjoying this virtual tasting. Again, it's kind of weird for us. Our tasting room is closed, but our tasting staff is still at the winery working, taking calls, answering emails, actually doing projects that probably have been needed to be done for a while. Our tasting room is getting a clean out. In fact, David right now is painting the floors. So and Teddy, I think, is working in our kitchen. So we're doing projects, getting by. Everyone's safe and healthy, and so we'll get through this. But again, cheers to the Cabernet, and we'll move up to the Zinfandel next to taste that after this. Cheers. Okay, so now we're at the other side of the ranch, so another hill to climb and some snakes to avoid. But here we are at our young Zinfandel. You can see it's about a 2-acre patch here. We actually have another little patch of Zin that we combine with this to put out for our Zin. But our Zin is a popular varietal that we put out. It's done in American oak. And we try our best to keep our alcohols low on this particular wine. I know a lot of Zinfandels throughout Napa and Sonoma have seen a risen in alcohols. There's lots of theories of why that is. But what we find at Arroyo is that high alcohol wines don't pair well with food. The lower the alcohol, you're able to taste the food and the wine together at a meal. And for us, that's very important for our wines. And so for Zinfandel to keep it in check and keep it in the 13 to 14 range is challenging, but I think it's worth it. I think this vineyard is young. It's going to continue to grow and get better and better each time we harvest. I believe this is about 5 or 6 years old. So we're seeing our first crops coming off of this. Typically in most vineyards, you don't see your first crop to 3 years after putting it in the ground. So it is a major investment to have to wait that long for your first crop, but it's definitely worth it. And I think, again, this is a dry farm vineyard like the rest of our vineyards. And I think we won't see high yield, but I think that concentration in that Zinfandel. Sorry, my phone got a phone call while we were there and turned off my video. Like I was saying, the dry farming, we won't see high yield on this, but we will see some good concentration of fruit. So let's try a little bit of this Zinfandel. Let's get down here and taste it. This is our 2017 Zin. Pretty true to the Zin that we've been having the last few years. It's sometimes one of the first wines that we see sold out. So it's quite popular for us. Again, we love it with our food. It has that jammy flavors that you expect from a good Zin. And with the American oak, it gives it that cedarish, that's nice smell that we see in our wine. So let's taste our Zin and enjoy our day. As you can see, it's a beautiful day in Calistoga. As I'm sure you can see that I'm sweating to death up here. Okay, let's try that again. Enjoy your Zin and let us know your thoughts. Cheers. Okay, so the last vineyard we're going to see today is our Rattlesnake Acre vineyard, which many of you know. It's our probably most popular or most sought after wine that we produce. We've been making it here at Arroyo since, I believe, 2000. So we've had quite a few vintages on our behalf. But right now we're kind of in a new phase with Rattlesnake Acres. We're seeing our yield starting to drop. And with that, the farming costs are outweighing what the cost of the wine would be. So what we're trying to do is slowly but surely replant Rattlesnake Acre Petite. And so what I'm going to show you here is a new planting. As you can see here, let's see if I can get the camera on it. Here we go. So that is our new baby Petite Sirah Rattlesnake Acres. Like I said before, the first vintage from this particular vineyard probably won't be for at least 3 or 4 years. But what we hope to see is slowly but surely the rest of the Rattlesnake Petite Sirah will get replanted and we'll have better production of the wine, because I know many of you are wanting it and it's sold out typically. So hopefully that'll change in the next few years. And as you can see here on this vineyard, these are all little stakes. We will be putting wires on these vineyards pretty soon. That's new for Rattlesnake Acre Petite Sirah. Our Rattlesnake Petite Sirah is all mostly head prune, meaning little trees, which I'll take you over to show you in just a bit. But the wires, the trellis system is not new, but newer than what we used to do in the 60s and 70s of farming like little trees, which I say is head prune. The wires allow us to farm more efficiently and able to take care of the vineyard better that way. So slowly but surely the rest of Rattlesnake Acre Petite Sirah will go away as head prune and come back as a trellis system. So let's walk over to the head prune so I can show you that, and then we'll taste the wine. So over here, you can see beautiful view today, is the Rattlesnake Petite Sirah. Again, like I say, it's head pruned. So let's see here. See, it's little trees. You can see behind me there. These vines here are about 50 years old. So they're quite old for our vineyards. I think it's our oldest vineyard on the estate. We are a little nervous when we go pick this vineyard because, as you can see, it's a little tree. And when you go to pick the grapes, you actually got to stick your hand inside the grapes to pull them out. Well, this ranch, as you can hear the name Rattlesnake Acres, is we got a lot of few snakes on this property. So when they go to pick these vines, what they end up having to do is kick the vine and listen for a rattle. If there's a little rattle, it's time to miss that plant and come back later in the day to pick. So it's a little more dangerous to pick these vineyards than, say, our trellis system. So again, eventually all of this will be replaced as trellis, and you don't have to worry about the snakes so much in the vines. but they will still be here at the ranch. So we just have to be careful with that. All the dogs on the property get anti-venom vaccines, so we don't worry about a snake bite for them. And fortunately for us, our vineyard crews have been lucky in not having any accidents there. But let's go back to where we were and maybe pour a glass of that Petite Sirah. I hope you guys have some older vintages that you're trying today as we are talking about this vineyard, because I think this vineyard has the potential of aging the best of all our vineyards. I would say 7 to 10 would be an ideal window. I know it's hard to wait. You kind of have to hide that bottle away from yourself. But if you do have the patience, it definitely pays off, because I think it's quite the amazing wine. So here we are at 2017 Rattlesnake Acres. You can see we changed our labels up a little bit this year. You can see a little bit of the snake skin on the label. It's kind of cool. But this is going to be a dark, inky color. That's typical of Petite Sirah. When Vince first came up here in the 70s, there was a lot of Petite Sirah. A lot of it was being shipped over to the co-op where Hall Winery is today, and it was bottled up and sold to other wineries. And Petite Sirah was a great varietal because it gave color to the red wines. So back in the 60s, 70s, varietals were not the way to buy wine. It was red, white, and pink primarily. So if you were going to buy a wine, you wanted to make sure that color was nice and dark for that red, and Petite Sirah gave it that attribute. A lot of the Petite Sirah in the Napa Valley has been torn out and planted with Cab, and Cab is fantastic for Napa Valley. But for Petite Sirah here in Calistoga is quite amazing, because it loves the heat, and it loves this climate and this ground that we're in. So I think hopefully the next generation, my kids, will continue with this varietal. I think it has an amazing place in our lineup, and I think in the wine world itself. But here's some Rattlesnake Petite Sirah. Enjoy. I know this is our first virtual tasting. I'm sure you have questions. You may have comments and may have suggestions on how this can go better. I welcome those. If you can please just email us at either my own email at vincentarroyo.com, or give a shout out to the winery, area code 707-942-6995. We do have these going every Friday, so we'll visit 4 different ranches in the month of May. Hopefully by June, we'll be able to open our tasting room. We don't know that yet, so we'll see what happens going forward. But for the most part, we'll enjoy these tastings together every Friday. And hope you guys can join us each Friday. And like I said, if you have any suggestions or comments or questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call or shoot an email. Again, this is brand new to us, and you know us, we're not fancy people, and technology is not our forte, but we'll make it work. And like I say, hope you guys are staying safe and healthy at home, and you need any vino, we can still ship. So enjoy your tasting, and it was good speaking with you today. Cheers.